Let's come on though to energy, because we're coming up for autumn, winter, and are we looking at a stealth currency? So I just want to give you a little, we've got a lot to flick through. So let's start on COP, because they want to ditch fossil fuels. That's the whole plan moving forward. So if we ditch fossil fuels, that comes at a price, because the latest from Chancellor Rachel Reeves says she's going to axe winter fuel payments for millions of pensioners. And in a subsequent article in the Telegraph, they project that bills are going to be literally hiked up by £150, which is going to hit people. I mean, really hit people badly. British Gas have even issued their own 6-week warning to customers to check their tariffs before October. And of course, the budget is just around the corner in October. And will we be paying per mile? It looks from Birmingham Live are reporting new UK pay per mile car tax system from October, and bans are aggressive. So that's something to look forward to. Then we're looking at all the other things the government are trying to force on us: heat pumps, which we know are very expensive to install and uneconomical. But back in 2006, I've been tracking back, and in 2006, DEFRA published the Rough Guide to Individual Carbon Trading. So what does it say? Well, it goes on to say that we're talking about personal carbon allowances here, which is actually rations, let's call it by what it is. And they don't think that any pilot is necessary. They don't actually want to ask the public, but we'll talk about that in a minute. They want to model it pretty much on the London congestion charge, which just rolled in by stealth. So on the next slide, you'll find out what a personal carbon allowance is. It's a PCA, and it's going to be compulsory. This is what they're planning. They're compulsory rations for adults, and we're not quite sure whether children will get any ration at all. And this will include all household energy, including if you're going on holiday and you're maybe flying. How will you do it? Well, probably through an app, but you're also going to have a carbon credit card, which will be debited when the carbon's consumed. But how have they modelled it? Well, they've modelled it on Tesco Club Card, Nectar, and Boots Advantage Card, and apparently 65 to 85% have loyalty cards. And staggeringly, the Club Card database, the Tesco's Club Card database, they're collecting 50 billion pieces of data per year. I mean, that's just huge. If that's not a reason to get rid of your Tesco's Club Card, I don't know what is. What about the public acceptability? Well, actually, at that point, no one had done any work on it at all. Although a focus group in Edinburgh on carbon trading and carbon taxation are concerned and were concerned about fraud, civil liberties, fairness. And of course, this is going to be linked to ID cards. And we're not talking about paper ID cards, we're talking about digital ID. So moving forward to 2011, you can start to see the way of travel. And we're looking at onshore, offshore wind farms, marine energy, biomass energy. I mean, just huge. And what is the public reaction and acceptability? Well, the public aren't going to accept it, because according to the document, pilots aren't a good idea. Sorry, have you? Yeah. I've just missed the slide there, I think, Mike. Okay, well, it's fine. We'll just carry on then. Pilots aren't a good idea. Why? Because they are a risk. They're a risk because the public won't want them. And this is how the London congestion charge was rolled in without anybody knowing. If you skip to the next slide, the UK renewable energy map. So this is where I'm saying Charles and everybody on UK Column have been talking about biomass electricity, onshore, offshore wind farms. So we know what that's all about. But have you heard of TEQs? And TEQs are tradable energy quotas. This is a House of Commons document. It was back in 2011, an all-parliamentary group on peak oil, chaired by John Hemmings. And you asked, Mike, what the Green Party have been doing or where they are, and this is where they are. The late David Amess was also on this APG. But the lean economy was founded by David Fleming, and it's significant, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But they're really leaning on a report in the next slide called The Oil Crunch, which predicted and concluded that global oil production would be unable to continue to grow beyond 2013. And a year later, the UK Energy Research Centre concluded that 2/3 of current global crude oil may need to be replaced by 2030. There's that 2030 again. And Ofgem at that time warned that there would be shortages. and breaks in supply. And let's not forget our good old friends, Chatham House. Oh, sorry, Common Purpose. Yes, sorry. I think we've got the slides out of sync a little bit, but John Hemming basically concluded here with Chatham House. We've got Chatham House and Lloyd's saying that TEQs provide the fairest and most productive way to deal with the oil crisis and to simultaneously guarantee reductions in fossil fuel use to meet climate change targets. So what more can we ask? Well, if we look at the next slide, you can see common purpose there, a plan for all seasons. I'm sure Brian will be watching with interest because there we go again. A rationing system will be required to sustain a fair entitlement and available fuels. So this is going to motivate, apparently, the whole of society. And what are their aims? Well, they're going to have to prepare us. How are they going to prepare us? Psychological techniques. So psychological preparation. Apparently, we all need to be informed of this, but with no pilot consultation and no discussion, we won't know about anything. We will end up being told. And then, of course, you've got the second preparation, which is practical, where they're going to need to roll it out pretty quickly. They say in the next slide that TEQs could be a game changer, that they are acting, so must you. And if we look at today in 2024, how is this rolling out? Well, we have the Fleming Policy Centre, which was founded by David Fleming. Now, he's an elder of the Green Party, and he's also been involved, he was a Green Party economic spokesman, but he's also been involved in transition towns movements. He died in 2010, and he's an ardent critic of nuclear power. So the Fleming Policy Centre are inventing the future. And what they say, and this is the really important bit, is that every adult gets an equal free entitlement to weekly TEQs, weekly. So children maybe not included. So whenever you buy petrol, it will be deducted from your TEQ. 1 unit will be 1 kilo of carbon. If you use less, you can sell your surplus. If you need more, you can buy more. The number of units available will be determined by the national carbon budget, encouraging common purpose. Here is some of TEQs champions. In the next slide, you can see John Fleming, Lord Smith of Finsbury, Chris Smith, and of course, Caroline Lucas. So that's what Caroline Lucas has been busy doing. And of course, you're going to be able to download this on your smartphone or on a credit card. So Do Black, the world's first credit card. This was back in 2019. They've come on from there, but you can just see how they're going to roll this out. The next slide will tell you it's a Swiss Fin tech team who have teamed up with MasterCard. And they say that this is the first card ever to prevent consumers from exceeding their limit based on carbon emissions caused by their consumption. And finally, to tie it up, every transaction counts, creating the infrastructure for climate action economy. They were funded in 2018. And here's the CEO, Matthias Wilkstrom, who is a regular speaker around Europe and at the United Nations. So is this something we have to look forward to? I believe it might be. Oh, yes, sorry, from ground regeneration and nutrient density with farmers Angus. Stephanie reminded me of this, where he is talking exactly of carbon rations and carbon quotas. So please go and look at that.